welcome to episode 6 of our KNX Top Tip series. In today's video, I'd like to talk to you about push button blocking. So let's jump into ETS and have a look. So what we're going to configure for this demonstration today is a basic spotlight, which is using the switching function type. So let's jump in and have a look at the advanced behavior. So it is in the advanced behavior tab that we define how the motion sensor is blocked when interacted with by a push button. So in our group objects, you'll notice for function 1 spotlight, we have our switching output, which will be connected to our switched input on our actuator. And then we also have a push button blocking input, which can be used to be, or is connected to the push button itself and is used to turn the light on and off manually. Now, there are multiple considerations to take into account when interacting with a motion sensor via a push button. And one of those is blocking. So when you turn a light on using a push button, you might want to block the motion sensor from any of its automatic activities. So that includes turning the light on automatically or includes turning the light off automatically. You're basically blocking the automatic operation of the motion sensor. So by default, you'll see here that push button on blocking behavior is block. So when you turn the light on using a push button, the motion sensor is going to be blocked, i.e. it will no longer time out. That light will be on permanently. Push button off blocking behavior is unblock after an exit period. And you might be wondering, why would you want to leave an exit period? What is an exit period? Well, the reason we have this is if you were to walk out of a room and turn the light off, and the sensor was to be unblocked immediately, then the next step you take to walk outside the room will be picked up by the motion sensor and the lights will be turned automatically on again. And then you end up in this cyclic situation where you turn the lights off and you walk out the room and they turn on again, and then you turn them off and then same. So to prevent that, we ensure that the motion sensor is blocked for a short period of time after you turn the lights off manually, and that gives you time to leave the room. And that's why we have here an exit period of 20 seconds. So these are the default parameters on blocking. Now let's jump in and look at some more of the more advanced non-default options we have inside the motion sensor for blocking. So the first one is, let's look at the options for when we turn the light on. So the default, as you say, is block, but you do have the ability to don't block and allow timeout. So in this instance, the light will be turned on using a push button, but after the timeout has elapsed, i.e. if you turn it on using a push button, but then immediately walk out the room and leave the room, after the timeout, which in this instance is 10 minutes, the lights will turn off. So this might be useful in, for example, a kid's bedroom where they might leave the light on. So the push button turns the light on, but you've still got that timeout that's going to turn the lights off after a period of time. The other option here is don't block and extend timeout. So you might want to have a timeout of 10 minutes for automatic switching on and off. But when you interact with the motion sensor via a push button, you might want to extend that timeout. Just because you're going to be in that room doing something else, you might not be in the motion sensor detection area, maybe you're the other side of the room, but you're going to be transiting through that area occasionally. So all you want to do is extend the timeout. So in this instance, we've done a timeout extension of 30 minutes. So when you walk into the room, the lights are going to turn on. And if you stay in that room, the lights are going to remain on. The minute you leave that room, the lights will turn off after 10 minutes, because that's the automatic timeout. But if you go up to a keypad, if you walk into the room and turn the lights on with a keypad, then this timeout extension comes into play. So now, so if you turn them on manually and then you walked out of the room and left the room, the motion sensor would turn the lights off after 10 minutes plus 30 minutes So after 40 minutes of no motion in the room, the lights will be turned off. So this is if we don't block and extend the timeout when we turn the light on. Let's look at the other more advanced options for when we turn the light off using a push button. So one of them, the default, is unblock after an exit period, and we've already gone through and explained that. The other option is unblock immediately. This should be used with caution because of the scenario that I explained earlier when you're leaving a room and when the push button is in the detection area. So this should only be used if the push button isn't in the detection area, and might be useful in a room that's used really, really frequently. So you don't want to block it for that 20-second period, because when you come back in, you want it to turn on straight away, even if someone's left 20 seconds earlier. The other option, which is really unique, is unblock once the room is unoccupied. So instead of just simply saying, well, let's just keep it blocked for 20 seconds to allow me to have time to leave the room, we can set it to unblock the motion sensor once we know the room is being unoccupied for a set period of time. So here we're saying only unblock the sensor while the room is being unoccupied for 30 seconds. So if I was to turn the light off, walk out of the room, stay outside for 10 seconds, then walk back in to go and grab something, it would reset that timer. So only when the room has been unoccupied for 30 seconds will the sensor be unblocked. And again, that's useful for the scenario where you might be leaving your house, you press the house all off button, all of the lights get turned off. You walk to the front door and go, no, I've just forgot my keys. So you run back in to grab your keys. And then you might spend 10, 20 seconds doing that. And then you walk back out, the lights aren't going to be automatically turning on again. It's not a fixed timeout, or it's not a fixed time of 20 seconds. It's now 30 seconds with no motion. So again, a really powerful feature built into our KNX motion sensor. So that's it, guys. A little run through of blocking and connecting your push button into the motion sensor. Thanks very much.